Welcome to Even Web3. This is our new studio. We've really upgraded from the home setup you're normally seeing. We're also doing a little bit of a between two ferns setup. Obviously, it's me, James.
Me, Sash.
And I'm Bailey from Copiosa.
No, Bailey, it's me, Bailey.
It's me, Bailey.
It's me, Bailey.
And it's me, Bailey from Copiosa.
No.
So get the energy in there.
So, are you enjoying Zebu so far? So that's where we are as well. Maybe make that clear to people. We're at ZebuLive today. We were here yesterday. We talked to lots of people. We actually founded the podcast at ZebuLive last year.
Exactly a year ago.
Yeah.
Big moment for us.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you so much. We've just been married. Thank you.
We were just talking about wives, but yeah, me and Sash, this is my real, people have like a work wife.
Yep.
This is like my Sunday night chat wife who I go and speak to. More like a webcam model than a wife, to be honest. Just get him online. But no, are you enjoying the conference so far?
Yeah, it's been great. I love the energy that these guys bring every year.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Thank you so much. We met you. Well, I ambushed you at ZebuLive last year, and I was like, Copiosa, I've heard of you. I love what your vision is doing, and what has changed since we last saw you.
I really enjoyed that conversation too, because I was so used to people being angry at me online that when someone came up to me and went, I know what you guys do, I went, oh no, I don't know if I can deal with this in person. Great, cool. Yeah, so since we last talked, we built a centralized exchange. That didn't quite work out thanks to FTX exploding.
Yeah.
Which I'm enjoying following along the trial there already.
We're all enjoying our losses from FTX. That's a great win across the whole
Exactly.
The whole sphere.
It's a nice spectator sport now, seeing what actually happens off the back end of it. But yeah, we built that, so we decided to pivot over. We built out a non-custodial wallet instead. It's been live for about 6 months now. We just hit 3,000 users.
Congratulations.
Which is fantastic. That was yesterday, so that was super exciting. We're just keeping on working to make it safer and simpler for people to enter into the world of crypto for the first time.
Yeah. Well, I'm really interested in what you said about FTX there, because I feel like I wonder sometimes, right, is the world of crypto. So like we're looking at doing mass market, and just people who don't know, Copiosa helps you buy low market tokens in a secure way, in a way that is verified and safe, right? Do you worry that like bad actors in crypto, and I'm not talking about like B-list celebrities shilling coins, I'm talking about, bad actors who are just here to make money, and end up in situations like FTX, just small, it makes the whole pot smaller? Because like that's what I see a lot. It's like you got a lot of good products trying to grow it, but all the mass media is FTX has collapsed, crypto's a scam. Like, what are your opinions on that? Because obviously you're trying to combat that with the small tokens, but how do you feel like the wider macroeconomics affects you?
I think it's something that's really interesting there, because I think something that we're seeing at the moment that I find fascinating is and great is that lots of the rubbish has kind of filtered out of the space a bit.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, there are still scammers around. Scammers are going to be around anywhere, especially where kind of trust is low or when understanding is low, especially. But on the whole, I think we're seeing the space is cleaned up a little bit right now, which is nice. And I think it's interesting on the whole scale of things too, in that I think a lot of the world has kind of turned into crypto is a bit more on the boring side of things now. I mean, it's less of a cool
people are making less money.
Exactly. People are making less money, but also on the positive side of that, in general, people are losing less money too. Yeah. A la FTX. Maybe there are less people losing money. Maybe those less people are still managing to lose lots of money. We'll find that out soon. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting state that the market's in overall at the moment. It feels like we're at kind of I don't know, I think having gone to a bunch of conferences this year and talking to people in the industry, it's starting to look like there's a lot of confidence in industry, but outside of the industry, there's a level of indifference that is new for me, having been full-time in this space for kind of a touch under 2 years now. Yeah,
because I tend to find that in the cycles, bear market builds and then the bull market grows. That's how I sort of see them cycle up, and you end up coming to stuff in the bear market like now, and you go, actually, these people care, and the people who are here to shill aren't really here because there's nothing to shill. I find that fascinating. And I'd also like to know sort of your opinion on how do you feel like the whole of crypto will go over time? Because do you know what my concern is? I'm an accountant. I sit there, work with the regulators. I know people get so excited when you go, I'm an accountant, because it's like, the most interesting job in the world. But my concern with blockchain is, I think we just end up in a situation where the governments go, cool, we're going to blockchain fiat currencies, we'll know what everyone's doing. And I sort of wonder if we're still a little bit in the Wild West before governments come in and lock down all of our currencies. And I just want to know, do you think that there'll still be tokens in that period? Or do you think, again, that they'll sort of all get phased out and the governments will mainly control them?
I think, that's a fantastic question. I think we were talking about this on the panel that I was on yesterday, where we were talking about kind of the overarching user experience of Web3. And I think there's you hear this right already, that we sometimes use cryptocurrency and Web3 as interchangeable terms.
And I hate cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Cryptocurrency annoys me because it's got so much bad press.
But cryptocurrency is financial products. It's kind of monetary tokens, that sort of thing. Web3 tech is a whole massive other thing that's off to this side over here that is kind of encompasses so many other different bits and pieces. I think when it comes to crypto specifically, I think there's a lot of value there, and I think it will be really interesting to see where we find the middle ground, because I think there needs to be rules, because kind of governments need to figure out where they're going to get their tax from. Governments need to figure out governments like control, and that's kind of how society has structured control at the moment, is we give that power to the governments to figure that out. But then I think the beauty of decentralized tech is that it means that we're starting to see it's tearing down some of those payment rails that, for example, in the US, where you basically have to pay to send money and it can take days, when we know that there are payment rails that exist everywhere else in the world, where you can send money instantly and it's free or close to free. And so I think there are lots of things that the kind of crypto market has to offer, like traditional financial systems. And it's going to be, I don't know exactly how it's going to end up, but I think it's going to be really interesting to watch how those two things kind of intersect, and what level, I guess, of decentralization that the established system will allow or be willing to kind of have in the system, because I think there are some really key things there around, like you said, fiat currencies coming on chain, CBDCs can be really scary for some people.
100%.
Are you worried about that affecting any of your products?
Not anytime soon. I think the way that we view Copiosa is it's a Web 2.5 product. So it's where we're looking at building Web 2 experience into the Web 3 world. The Web 3 world, I think, is so, we've gone from write to kind of collaborate and to owning your data, owning your content. And I don't think that we're going to be kind of fully into that Web3 world anytime soon. I think it's going to be a slow process, because even though technology is moving really fast in the crypto space, I think it's moving much too fast for it to actually be adopted at a reasonable space in the rest of the world. And so it's going to be a while before we move back, we start focusing on experience, and we start actually making it usable technology, not just exciting technology.
Yeah.
So you're a big proponent of a Web 2.5. Because how do you feel? Because people always talk about this, don't they? Let's onboard the next billion users. Let's do this. Let's do that. In your mind, is it? Well, people do, don't they?
Yeah,
but,
I don't really believe in that whole kind of story. The next billion users. It's kind of it's not really going to happen with full decentralization. We need that centralization, 2.0. We need someone to have that overarching view over the main masses, because at the end of the day, most people have no idea what they're doing. So they need that kind of leadership, kind of what you're offering, that 2.0. Someone needs to give you that education where you can have all the information on your app that it's not available anywhere else. Yeah. So that's what you're kind of providing. You are that leadership that's slightly more centralized, which will empower the next. Yeah,
I think the thing that we see a lot that I think is funny, because when you talk about cryptocurrency, one of people's favorite buzzwords in cryptocurrency is trustless. But what it actually is just moving the trust. So rather than trusting a Web 2 institution, rather than trusting a bank, you're trusting a piece of code that a dev in his bedroom in Eastern Europe wrote. And then that 3 other people have forked and just added in a little change on the top. So we're talking about the value of trust has moved. And when it comes to the decentralized world, that is much more about trusting individuals or trusting small teams. And I think I find issues with that sometimes. I think there's lots of fantastic good that can come from that. There's lots of really interesting stuff that can come out of that. But it's inherently, as soon as you say trust has moved, I remember I've heard many crypto projects preached where people they come up and they go, oh, we're doing exactly the same thing that a bank does. We're doing exactly the same thing that a traditional loaner does, like a loan shark does, but we're doing it, we're the intermediary. And I kind of go, it's trustless. And I'm like, no,
I have to trust you.
Yeah, it's objectively not.
And you're not regulated, and you're not a bank, and you don't have all the,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm going from trusting a regulated institution who has, there's recourse if they do the wrong thing.
And I know they've got reserves.
They legally have to do that, and I don't know exactly how that works, but I understand that system's enshrined, whereas we haven't, because we don't have the kind of systems built around that in the Web3 space yet. I think it's not just we're not ready for that, it's just that it's not. I think it still needs a lot of maturing before it's actually going to be in a space where it is really usable, before we can onboard the next billion users. And that's why we kind of view Copiosa as this as a really necessary evil if you're talking to a Web3 degen, right? Crypto degen, because they're like, oh, well, you guys have terms and conditions and you have a privacy policy. You shouldn't. you shouldn't need to comply to those sort of things. I've met people who are like, oh, you
full libertarian, like no.
You're on the Apple App Store, you have a registered business, disgraceful.
Yeah.
The full libertarian angle. So to them, we are an evil, but I would say argue strongly that we're a necessary evil because there are so many people who just can't use. And by definition, there are also lots of people who we shouldn't trust, who are building this trustless tech because we don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And that's not quite how trust works.
So you heard it here first, people at home. Copiosa are evil. That's those are the exact words. Evil, but necessary.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're just going to remove necessary. And then you've got the clip.
We'll cut that out. No.
Where do you see Copiosa in the next year when we do this interview again?
Where do I see? I think the things we're super excited about at the moment is we're starting to look towards adding in more blockchains. So becoming more of a holistic wallet, looking into kind of figuring out how we can use our native token as gas across those blockchains, trying to look to, again, fancy language of abstract the difficulty away, also known as making it simple, which is what we like to come back to all the time. So we want to do that. We want to have tens of thousands of users on rather than 3,000. That's the goal. We're just looking to keep building, keep working with some great tokens. My goal is to have be working with the hundreds of tokens in our verification process, because the more that we have there, I guess the deeper the level of information we have and the broader kind of suite of tokens we're working with, the more people can just come in and learn and understand what a token looks like, what different kind of categories a token looks like, and learning about like different aspects of the space as well.
Out of interest, I don't know it. Does Copiosa have any sort of like trending token aspects on there? Because when we spoke to a guy in Cologne, didn't we?
Yeah.
We saw his talk, what he did was every day for, was it a month? He bought $100 of trending tokens and then saw where that landed. And I just didn't know if that would be quite interesting from a Copiosa perspective. You can track your trending, small cap tokens. Go, do you know what? We do a trending token every day. This is the one that does this. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that ends in a situation where you feel like you're promoting a token though over sort of just providing information. I don't know about that sort of thing.
It's a great question. I can say we don't have that in right now, but I can say we have some pretty cool stuff in the works around
Secret
that.
alpha coming out.
There's some alpha. I can't tell you exactly how that works just yet, but there's some cool ideas around that we could work with, and some really cool partners that we could work with on that front too.
Perfect. So look out for that at home. Go and download the Copiosa wallet. Get that up over 3,000. We want to see 3,000 billion.
Yeah.
Which is that's a James. Just say a number that's not a number.
Good bigger number.
We want a number big number, please.
And you heard it from the accountant first.
I'm sorry, that's technical speak. Big number, please. It means a number that's larger than it used to be.
And it's definitely not evil, by the way. It's not evil.
No, it's live. It's real. I'm trying to mick around evil. But no, that's been us at Zebu.
Right, it's perfect.
Bailey?
It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Always a
one of the
pleasure.
best founders in this crypto space, and I'll always say it.
One of. He's only said one of.
There's 3 others at Copiosa, so any other 3.
That's what I mean, right?
Oh, perfect. Anyway, that's Moving Web3. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.